Hey guys. So I'm sitting here by myself, um, talking about weed. Now, before you ask why talk about weed, it's a very interesting thing because I'm not a weed smoker. So why do I want to talk about this subject? I don't smoke weed the way most people smoke weed, and I'm sitting here thinking about the taxation and the legalization of weed, and I realized that's not the problem. Cat Williams said, as soon as they figure out how to tax it, it'll be legal everywhere. Well, they already know how to tax it, and it's legal in some states, but not everywhere. And I know exactly why. Took a little bit of thinking, but I figured it out. Um, Legalization of weed is no problem at all. It's grass. It grows like that. And yeah, it that's no problem. I'm thinking because we have people that have spent 30 years of their life at the very least for selling grass. You sell coleslaw, you sell tomatoes, you sell bananas. Nobody's getting in jail for that. And before you say, well, it's only that way because the government isn't getting their cut. No. That's not it, because the government is the competition of weed. Why? Because they figured out in the 80s CIA was, next to the cartel, one of the biggest transporters of cocaine in the entire third world. So that's not the problem. The government is getting their cut, they're just getting it elsewhere. So that's why they don't want any other product competing. It's not the people, it's the product. They have a fully chemicalized product that they can export anywhere in the world and make billions of dollars and pay no taxes on it, and all they have to do is pay a significant amount of money for a lab to do it. Same thing with creating a virus, same thing with creating a vaccine. We can make it up as we go along, and we can make money off it. See, that's what people are fighting wars about. It's not about beliefs, not about ideology. It's about an idea. You see, the idea that I can make out of nothing something is the magic of science. It's also to the detriment because, the road to hell is paved for with good intentions, but yet all these laboratories pave the way for fentanyl epidemics to come out. And you can blame the supplier, but who's demanding it? So, weed, which is actually the same thing as coleslaw and bananas and tomatoes and apples, which they perfectly know how to tax. So that's not even the problem. The legalization is not the problem. The taxation is not the problem. The real problem is what comes thereafter. See, long ago, when they found out about the indigenous people, they had one thing very much in common. All of them worshipped weed. And of course, William Damien Hirst took that particular narrative in the Freemasons and issued that weed or marijuana made black and brown people date and rape crazy and violent. Well, I don't know about the rape part, but one thing is very certain. They had some power to it. Their medicine was plant-based. Everything before Columbus discovered America had been plant-based. So what happened? It's like we're gonna make them so miserable that they forget their roots, but we won't. And that's you can get into secret organizations and Freemasons and all that blah yada yada shit. But let's keep it grounded to planet Earth. Legalization is not the problem. You can legalize it tomorrow and you have farms growing within 3 days making trillions of dollars on it. So that's not the problem. The taxation is not the problem, because here we pay for water. We tax apples, bananas. It's like they know how to tax it. They just don't want to do it. And that's because of everything that will come thereafter. Because see, what they notice, that if they're going to open that door to legalizing, and I mean fully, no restrictions whatsoever, you can do it, no strings attached to it, everything that comes thereafter. Because what they discovered is that if you take this door open, if you take this door, all right, that we've put under lock and key politically, all right, and have convinced enough people not to engage in the selling of this product for a very good reason, that is because we know what's coming after. Once we open that door, we will never close it again. And by that, I mean psychedelics. See, we have discovered that true consumption, through the consuming of certain products at certain times, during or after the day, during or after the night, they can have psychedelic effects. Psychoactive. That's the real problem. They don't want you to be psychologically active. That's what the real meaning of psychoactive means. Even the smoking of this tobacco is psychoactive. Depending on if I had a meal in me or not, depending on whether I went to the gym or not, it will have a psychoactive reaction if you know how the body works. However, they discovered that weed definitely, for certain people, has psychologically activating effects, which is why they don't want it. They don't want you to think freely. I mean, take a look at religion, for example. Now, I'm not going to get into that too deeply because that's going to be another video for another day. But you think we're really fighting wars over religion? No, we are fighting wars over believing that it's true. We are fighting wars over ideologies and ideas. And we are desperately trying to hold on and not let go of certain ideas that, believe it or not, you see it everywhere, they're not going to hold effect. Weed is a door that will be open forced if necessary. Because when you economically choke an entire civilization, all right, to the point where, you know, they only consume, they're gonna create that door open by force, because weed is the gateway, or marijuana, however you want to call it. I just call it weed. Weed is gonna be the gateway to a lot of industries no longer being available. And I've sit here thinking for a while, I've had a million great ideas. Just by sitting in this here cave and thinking about what would come thereafter. Well, psychoactive. You get psychologically activated. You are more than likely to not possess the trauma that has kept you from being active in any way, shape, or form. which is odd enough that I'm here in Africa. And the idea, the stigma, which really is the belief and the idea surrounding marijuana, that it's the lazy drug. So, in a society that, you know, or the beliefs that, you should work hard to achieve your goals, even if you would put a marijuana farm somewhere or a weed farm, you're not going to get a single African to operate it, because the idea is that it's the lazy drug and you'll be infected by its laziness and you will not work and not do anything. Well, wrong, because meditation will prove that just because your body isn't active doesn't mean your body isn't functioning. It's alive. You can sit here all day and your body will still be active. You'll still be thinking and reacting and doing things. So the problem is with weed is that they don't want you to think. That's number one, the psychoactive part about weed. Second, once they open that door, they're going to have to legalize LSD, psychedelics, ayahuasca, all right? And that will immediately destroy a lot of therapists' careers, because a lot of people would not need therapy or would not need to consume antidepressants or a lot of other shit. So that's there. You have economists losing their shit, because just like with the GameStop's economic situation, people would get too rich too quick. No, we can't have that now, Wall Street would say. So we're going to have to put rules and regulations. The problem is, those rules and regulations wouldn't have to be strictly applied because it's psychoactive. It would also imply that they'd have the same value taxation as an apple or a banana or an onion. So, which is not that high. So the government wouldn't get a significant cut of that. So that's the problem. They can fondle around with the stock market exchange as much as they want. They're just not going to get a significant high cut of the sale of marijuana. So what did they do instead? What they've done earlier, tax it to death, so that people do not want to invest in it anymore. Problem is, and we've seen that with the sanctions of Russia, and now wanting to put sanctions on Israel and other countries who support one team or the other, is that whether it can't be done legally, they'll do it illegally. Because problem with economic sanctions and these things that we're currently experiencing, put people in a chokehold long enough, and they either do things illegally out of desperation, or they're going to find loopholes. And as Russia has proven during the Ukraine war, this definitely exists, and they're going to find them. It's like I said, if you put marijuana as a psychoactive plant, the same can be said for eucalyptus. The same thing can be said for mint tea. The same can be said for any other plant that grows in the earth. So, if I were to, hypothetically, sell weed illegally, and they would arrest me and said, you are selling a drug. I'm selling grass. You are selling a psychoactive substance. I'm selling coleslaw. You are selling a plant. Pay someone enough money, all right, and beat it across their head over long enough. Trust me, even the best bullshitter cannot refute that no matter what its effects might be, all right? It's a plant, and you should tax it and treat it as one, regardless of the after effects. There are plenty of plants I should not consume with blood pressure medication. For example, with blood pressure medication in the Caribbean, it is very well known to stay away from pineapple. Pineapple mixed with blood pressure medication will spike your blood pressure. Even with certain antidepressants, it is known not to eat grapefruit. And trust me, I've done that accidentally once before, and you do not want that shit to happen. There's also after effects of consuming too much of a fruit or too much of a plant, regardless of whether it's psychoactive or not. If you take too much of one thing, there are going to be effects and after effects, and you cannot refute them no matter what. By law, by the word of law, I can classify an apple as a psychoactive drug. I can classify a watermelon, even a banana, as a psychoactive drug, because banana has sugar. And what do your eyes do when you have too much sugar? Exactly. An onion has a psychoactive effect, just not immediately on the brain, but it does go to your gut. Your gut feels a certain way, and you start. Those are the after effects. So we have effects and after effects of any plant-based product you are going to consume. It's a dying battle, and it won't take it will take someone with a golden and silver tongue at the same time to just. It's a plant. And so when you get through that, when they're going to get through that, there is going to be a slew of other psychedelics and other plant-based products that are going to render a lot of businesses useless. Biodiesel, solar panels even. All right? Because what do plants do more than anything? Absorb sunlight. We are just like plants. We do the same thing. So 83.84% of all businesses now worldwide, by the time we get through this, 83.84% of all businesses around the world will no longer exist. Or they'll exist in a short-term fashion. I mean, take a look at the medical capabilities, the psychological capabilities. You can practically put the World Health Organization out of business like that. And that's, of course, what the system don't want. And the system is going to fight it irrefutably, but to its own detriment. Because there's money to be made. You could put it in anything. Weed, you could put it in anything. Even now, all right? They have the CBD. They have the hemp protein shakes. They've got so many capabilities. But they won't do it because they want to classify it as a drug. And not only that, a psychoactive drug. And like I said, whether you're taking LSD laced with whiskey, which I have done, has much more psychoactive effects than weed will ever do. A little bit of personal experience on that note. I don't do it. I don't smoke weed like that. I never consumed weed like that. Growing up poor, I ate weed, I started getting more hungry, which means I spent way more money on food than I normally would have had, which I don't tend to do. Because, why eat more when you don't have to, and why spend more when you don't need to? And when you have a impoverished mindset, it's easy then to not do it. But I never classify it as a lazy drug unless, of course, you have nothing to do with your time. So, And it's not weed that's the problem. There are no problems in this world. It's the ideas and thoughts we have around this world that is the real problem. And with weed specifically, there are places where you can legalize it tomorrow and you will never get a single farmer to want to buy into that, because it's too it's the lazy drug. In America, they call it the rape drug. Now, what if these free Mason societies and all these secret societies are known is, yeah, weed is a psychoactive drug, and it does have religious, if you want to call it spiritual, properties for indigenous people and countries around the world. And they don't want that type of power, so they choose to demonize it, minimize it, and saying it's the worst drug in the world. Well, in fact, it would do quite the opposite for a lot of people financially, all right, psychologically, emotion control, because people want to classify weed as a psychoactive drug, but they will sell alcohol. We've had these problems before. Prohibition. Alcohol was treated the same way as weed is now. Now, any weed enthusiast will tell you, yeah, that's common fucking knowledge, but not to the majority out there. And you could be a 13-year-old having your own weed farm in Africa, and you could make tens of thousands of dollars. Honestly, if you were to give me 30 billion, 3,000 people, in 3 years, I have a weed empire that could last at least $138 million a day. That's how far I've thought about it. But I'm not going to do that, because why would I spill the secrets that no one really wants to work to put the effort in? And if you really were to do this globally, and I do mean everywhere around the world, you'd be sitting at $810 trillion a week. I said, well, those are large numbers. How do you figure it out? Well, very simple. All right. When you've lived on the bare minimum for a while, and I've been an expert at doing this for a while, you don't need that much money. So with that, there's a lot more money to be made. You can pay people fair wages, and it wouldn't cost you a dime. Literally 3,000 workers, you pay them anywhere between, well, let's say start off with 300 a day. In this economy now, it's wonderful. Who wouldn't want to make in a day what most people spend a week working at? The math is easy at that point. You buy some land, get people in the flat, get them to work in that flat, get them to work. Who wouldn't want that? Put some solar panels up, cut down electricity costs of living. If you pump your water from the ocean, if it's near an ocean, and if you make a way to there, easy. Because even in Africa, they are making groundwater pumps. There's only one problem with that. That water is meant for the ground, which means nothing's going to grow there. Yet you have an entire ocean of water out there, ready to be pumped, filtered, and put into every home around the world. I'm not just talking one country, I'm talking all countries. If the world is going to make a great flood, well, at least in 10 years' time, you'll have a great chance of dropping those numbers. very significantly. New York and Europe does not have to go under, but hey, if a ship is sinking, why stop, right? Plenty sure the rats love to swim. And I think we all know which rats we're talking about. It's the fat rats pretending to be cats, but are the biggest pussies behind the big screen. So, there is a slew of ideas that the selling of and the legalization and the minimized taxation of marijuana can do for the general human public around the world. If you need electricity, I can already give you a hint of where the next biggest weed farm is going to be. All right? Australia. Sun grows there to the point of having forest fires. Put some solar panels in, put the most advanced solar panels you can find in every home. And you have a country that runs on God's light. God said, let there be light, and thus there would be light. So I'll let it be there freely. All right? And stop making it. Let's stop. There's so much you can do. All right? With weed, you can practically pay for every solar panel to be on the bus. All right? You can have buses, cars, all right, that run on solar panels, paid for with ease, with the selling of marijuana and its capabilities. Ropes, cars, the possibilities are endless. But you need a creative mind and you need a business mind to cooperate out. And what have we learned in the corporate Hollywood? That, creativity and business usually don't mix. So no one's want to implement these ideas because of the ideas that we have surrounding the plant. Not the drug, the plant. All right? That's the number one we need to do. All right? Stop classifying marijuana as a drug. It was foremost a plant. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the apple of Adam and Eve or just the apple? All right? The apple is the fruit, the forbidden fruit. And that's the religious aspect of marijuana. That it is deemed the forbidden fruit. Yes, there are certain plants you can cultivate, but there are certain plants you can't. We step over them every day, so let's not give them the importance that you all value here, because really you don't. You step over certain grass, that will basically be the next big cure for cancer. Which is another aspect of why they don't want to legalize weed, because that will open the door for, the non-chemicalized medicines. There are laws being implemented right now that will want to prevent you from choosing healthier options for your medical, fitness, and overall wellness means. Luxury, comfortability, because health is wealth. All right? But they want you to not think about that. They want you to not see. So, the World Health Organization has already proven that its medical practices over the centuries the so-called modern medicine, have been based on a ancient technique of only let the people know as much as we want them to know. And let's not forget that our medical practices are purely race-based. I said women. Thank all the black women that were murdered and sacrificed for your vagina to be healed and cured. Because without them, you wouldn't have gynecology as we know it now. So the World Health Organization has its race-based practices. And that's also the key component of what this world is running on. Of what a lot of this world is running on. Race. Because William Damien Hirst, all right, wrote an article about weed being the rape drug for Mexicans and blacks in 1921. Well, I think Columbus saw a little bit more than what he'd want us to know. Mexicans, or the indigenous people as I like to preferably call them, didn't become rape crazy. They were just fucking a lot. Because even the myth of overpopulation back in those days is a myth. Talk about 8.1 million people died when Columbus brought the pox over and the conquistadors brought the pox over. No, it's more of that was what there was left. Because look at how big this world is. Look at how big this planet is. You think overpopulation is a problem? Overpopulation is a myth, all right? We have entirely too much space that we don't need. I live here in a cave and I live here comfortably. Even with nothing, I'm the richest man alive. You really don't need much. Even if, all right, you build the biggest skyscrapers, you put them all together, it wouldn't take that much. But that's not the real issue here. The real issue is that when Columbus found out and they saw them worshiping this plant, he saw the power it gave them. And that power was scary. To make a correlation between that statement, take a look at what the Belgian king, Willem de Koning, I think it was II, once said when he first laid hands on, saw eyes on Africa. Not a single person is a beggar or a thief. Yet nowadays, black people are considered the most thieving race on the planet. Bullshit. Deprive people of everything and they'll crave everything, even the most minimal, all right, of things. And plus, for the people, regardless of who you are, who say that, I find it hilarious that people say that, yet the people that caused the financial crisis in 2008 still don't see jail. Biggest thieves of all. But I digress. Let's get back to what Columbus saw when he saw indigenous people smoking weed. Not only did it give him power, it gave him freedom. Freedom to share, freedom to give freely. They were looking for gold, and because of weed, they practically gave the gold, to Columbus. It's like, here, take it, there's plenty more where we're from. It's not that bad. It comes from the earth. Everything comes from the earth. We give freely, and we know we shall receive. Then he looked at the women. Young as beautiful as the eye can see. Brown, bronze skin. Matching the colors of the earth. Sexually active. Why? Because the Incas, the indigenous people of South America, were in the billions. You talk about 8.1 million, try 30 billion. All right? Congregated in one epical mecca. All right? Of gold, sunshine, because that's what their God was. The sun is your real God. It gives us everything. All right? The Incas knew that. All right? You want your basis for the law of the land? Look no further than the sun. But don't look too close or you'll burn like Icarus. Which is a funny metaphor, is like, don't look too deeply into where your blessings come from. Be thankful for them. Share and enjoy the blessing. And give and share, which is the basis of the entire Western Hemisphere, was share freely. Little did the Incas know that, that's not what they came here for. They didn't come to share. They came to take. Take it all. That is the mindset that's been running around ever since that day. And that disease has not left the planet yet. That is still running rampant. Why should I give freely when I can have it all for myself? Why should I let someone else enjoy life when I can have all life for myself? That is the ego. And ego is just a very word for the dark desires within manifesting itself to a chimera, a all-consuming monster. That's what we all have become, chimeras. All-consuming beings. Monsters of our own desire. And now we seek redemption. Clean up the mess you made first. Then come talking about forgiveness from God's light. And everyone knows this. Everyone pretends like they don't know, but everybody knows at this point. Even they, even them. And we all know who they and them are. All right? Use your pronouns for the people that you are afraid to battle, but you should and must. So, Columbus saw a multitude of things, just like Willem de Koning did when he first came to Africa. All right? And, he saw a multitude of things that he had to disrupt. And one of the things he did was took God's light, was took the source from their people. He didn't account for disease, however, which was the biggest part because people just started dying left and right. It's the Black Plague reliving itself in a new world, a new form. He was looking for India. He was looking for gold. He was looking for riches. And he found them by taking it all and have the luxury of the Black Plague. The disease brought. And the disease still lingers today. And it's consuming the ozone layer. It's consuming our planet. But who am I to clean up a mess I didn't make? So, weed gives the power to free mind, spirit, body. And we can't have that, because we need to keep you from that, so you will consume. But not consume in the grade above, no, consume from the bottom below. That is the game. Been done so since the separation of the three great pyramids. Because what did you have? You had Peru, you had Egypt, and you've had India and Asia. America, Africa, Asia. Those are the great three kingdoms that together formed the gate of heaven. But there was a fourth empire, right? The Jade Empire, the Green Empire. This empire has come back in new form. The modern mythical age. Because that's what weed really is. The Jade Empire we've been looking for is right here. The Green Emerald Empire. The Green Gold. Listen to what I say, the Green Gold. That was the Jade Empire. We're killing the Green Empire. Respect the ground you walk on, my niggas. The Green Empire. Because that is what weed will create. And that's exactly what they are afraid of will happen again. The Green Empire. You had the Gold Empire. You had the Stone Empire. You had the Yellow Empire. You have the Green Empire. Weed will open the gateway to a Green Empire like never before seen, and we won't ever see again since. The Asians do this. Which is why back in the old dynasties they paid great homage to their farmers. And why do you think they fight so hard? Because farmers are kings. These politicians are not kings. These royals you have all over the world, they're not royal. Alright? They just happen to have enough money to keep it all in the family. Cousin fucking sons of bitches. But the Jade Empire, the Emerald Green Empire, this is a Green Empire, alright? It's the Empire of Green, where riches will flow freely. The Garden of Eden. There, I just saved you 8.1 trillion years worth of misery. With that line. Pay me my motherfucking money. From all around here to Western, we call this here 2020 twin, nigga. The Green Empire is upon us. But will everything have to burn? Because I tell you, there won't be nothing left if we don't start focusing on the Green Empire. And if you have a backyard, you have a Green Empire. Depending on how big your backyard is, you might be sitting on $1 million right now. And you won't even know it. And all you have to do is pay attention to your garden. Because that's your Green Empire. You want to wait for money to grow? Well, there you go. Grow some tomatoes, sell a little bit, sell some coleslaw on the side. Well, there you go. That's the biggest fight. The right to make money in your own backyard. Because we're still under the illusion that you have to do something for that money. Go ahead, think that. Keep paying for flowers when you can grow them in your own yard. Keep buying dumbass eucalyptus and all these other things when you can grow them in your backyard. So yeah, that's the Jade Empire, the Green Empire. El Dorado is the Golden Empire, which really stems from, feeding the Anunnaki. Because they required gold. What do we require? Food, sex, and water. And the ability to do it all over again. It's the basic animal instinct that no matter how far you go and stretch, we all require. Meet your needs, my nigga. Build your green empire from your backyard. That's why they don't want you to own land. Because even a rapper might decide to want to become a farmer. There you go. You'll see a lot of rappers going to be farmers now. Because with all that streaming, all that YouTube money, all that show money, shit, you can do it from home. You don't have to go out on tour. If you own enough land, you build your own podium. You do a live YouTube show. Get some donations, get a little something, and then you keep the farm going. Because the Green Empire is here. Money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it does. Yes, sir, and ma'am, and everything and everyone else in between. It does. Because you're paying for it in the supermarket. Money does grow on trees, bitch. Dave Chappelle laugh. I'm rich, bitch. That's your money. That's your money grows on trees. That's your Jade Empire. That's your El Dorado. That is your freedom. Weed, coleslaw, banana, tomato. You say money doesn't grow on trees, but you buy your Burger King with what? Coleslaw, tomatoes, some pickles. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You don't have to have a house. Buy some land, put your caravan on it. Depending how paranoid you are, you might want to put a fence around it. I don't know. It doesn't cost much to make a good living, my guy. Build your Jade Empire. Build your Green Empire. If you're living in a flat, though, that's going to be a little bit different now, isn't it? Kanye West wasn't crazy. What he did was pretend to be dumb in order to cater to dumb motherfuckers. But yeah, the Jade is here. You know what else grows freely around here? That is also psychoactive, but people Use it because of its medical qualities. Aloe. Aloe vera. I live here in fucking Tenerife. All right? They got aloe creams. They got aloe shampoo. They got everything aloe. They make African moonshine out of banana leaves. Used banana leaves at that. So guess what weed's gonna do? Once that starts being implemented the same way. Market crash, stock market, it's done. That's it. You have a worldwide growing economy that you can grow out of your backyard. The Green Empire, Jade Empire. The Chinese already saw this. The Jade Empire, the Emerald Green. Hey, yo, they were way ahead of their time. But yet we're sitting here fighting wars over the belief of an idea constructed out of what? Guys, I'm smoking cigars. I was going to wait for my TikTok to do this, but you know what? I might as well. I'm smoking cigars like y'all smoking dick. Hey, yo, if they can make money off of tobacco, which is dried leaves, you have liquor made from used banana leaves, and you got a whole slew of products made from a plant that's just as good or as bad, give or take where you want to put it, as marijuana. The only difference between marijuana and aloe is we look at its medical properties. We choose to look at one aspect of one plant and choose to look at the aspect of another plant. They do the same thing. The only difference is you can't smoke aloe vera. You can't smoke it. So that's the only difference between weed and aloe. And they put tax on aloe. So they don't want to tax marijuana. It's not that they don't know how. They know how. Like I said earlier, you tax water. You tax a whole slew of products that are out there on the world for free. The Jade Empire, the Green Empire, keep that in mind. The world is green, although you choose to pay blue until you do die. Green Empire, people. Welcome to the new age, which will be done by 2026. You got to think about shit like this. Except you can't think if you don't have all the variables. Now, you want to talk weather manipulation, you want to talk other shit. Yo, there's a whole slew of other organizations that will manifest. Just like you manifest good and bad for you or for someone else. That's what you got to worry about. Because some people still believe that they're God and that they don't think the weather will ever change. The thoughts, the ideas we have around surrounding ideas need to change in order for the future to happen. We've been at this now for damn near 3.5, 4 years. Do you really think we have made a significant difference? Do you see progress? No. People just live the same day, the same lives, the same lies over and over again. We fight wars over ideas, and this is when it comes to weed, we're fighting. Still fighting. The idea surrounding a plant classified as a drug that has the same capabilities and effect and can be taxed and used and implemented the same way as any other plant. All right? We have very conflicting and very contradicting ideas about what we classify as. I could pretty much classify this as a drug. This is not natural, it's made in a lab. I can classify this piece of caramel yogurt here as a drug because it has a lot of things that are not natural in the caramel sense of the word. Shall I classify this as a drug too? Shall I classify this as a one? Shall I classify this as one? I can classify music as a drug. I can listen to Fuck the Police and call a cop next day. It's like, sir, I was ingesting NWA's Fuck the Police, and that led me to kill a cop. The music is a drug. Cat Williams. Marijuana ain't no drug. It ain't no motherfucking drug I've ever heard of. It's just a plant. It just grows like that. And if you should happen to set it on fire, there are some effects. The plant itself is not the effect. The consumption after causes the effect. Cause and effect, people. We play that game. Play it all the way. Play it all the frickin' way. All right? That's it. And if you do it right, you won't even have to buy hundreds of acres of land. Just do it the way we do a natural rose garden and everything. Stacks on stacks on stacks. And even if you were to grow it just on your backyard, who would care? The Green Jade Empire is upon us, my son. So, you want your empire, you want your El Dorado. It starts, you want to make millions. You want to make $1 million for $1 trillion dollars? Starts in your backyard. Grow some food. Grow some plants. Save yourself some money. You know? Put some extra time, effort, and love in your backyard, my son. It's as simple as walking up and taking a shit. Don't take a shit in your toilet. Take a shit in your backyard. Then bury the motherfucker. That's free compost right there. You save on compost. You want to water? Take a piss in your backyard. You save on water. You want to water the plants? Water them that way, motherfucker. See. That's it. It's so simple. You might have thought, why haven't someone thought of it before? Because they would have the idea to make you pay for water, pay for pussy, and pay for love. And I have some personal problems with Jennifer Lopez, which I'm going to save for another video. I'm not going to get into it. But she was right about several things. But she was definitely right about this one thing. Love don't cost a thing. Love is in you. You generate that. You put some love in your empire. It'll grow. You want to see progress in your idea? Put some love in it. Make that idea grow. but you don't want to grow. But you do want to show what you don't know. It will never grow. Oh. So there's your green empire. If you got money to buy some land, buy some land. Get rid of these golf courses. Grow a farm instead. Because back in the days, we all worship kings. But the kings who saw the most progress were farmers. That's your real wealth. The automated future is fast. It works if you want to grow stuff fast. But you want to have a good quality product, you gotta think things through. You gotta put time and effort and say, I want the best for my growth and my empire. And weed is the final key to unlock for all this shit, because they want to put all them farmers under lock and key right now. All right? They want to put they want you to believe that weed is the impossible code to crack. It's the easiest one. That's why they throw these confusing ideas around about what it is and what it is not. And like I said, the same thing you can say about weed, you can say about aloe. The same thing I can say about a mushroom, psychoactive or not, I can say about many other mushrooms. That's why they don't want shrooms legalized either. And if you think weed is a problem now, wait till they start legalizing those. You got at least 1 billion Einsteins walking around right now, but they're trapped inside a box, inside a box, inside a box, inside a box. The Matrix is a series of boxes that you've got to learn to grow out of. That's why I don't live in a box. I live in a cave. I see the Garden of Eden every day I wake up. All right? I see possibilities every time I open my eyes. And I see them come to fruition every time I close mine. So now, if you want to poison that idea, there's plenty of ways to do that. I can give you 3 right at the top of my head. Put a lot of pesticides in them. Grow as much of the seeds you possibly can in a lab. But no, it's meant to be freely. Birds eat seeds. They fly over so many countries. And they take a shit. And the seeds will remain in the ground. And moreover not, the shit with the seed will go underground. And water will fall on that. And the seed and the compost will grow. Thus, the Green Empire. Eat some sunflower seeds. Take a shit. Empire. Tara J.P. Henson. Got plenty of shit to say about that too, but that's another video for another time. Just keep it on weed. You've got the political aspect. You've got the religious aspect. You've got the religious aspect of weed. And, of course, then you've got its social, ideological ideas of weed. And what it is meant to be. A plant to advance science, medical, psychological, spiritual, and economical. If you want this system to still flourish the way it is, because right now it ain't. And why? Because of ideas. That's why I will talk in my next video about the idea of democracy. But there is none. You pay for everything you say. And you pay sooner or later for everything that you do or don't do. Which is why I've gotten out of my ass and hiatus and decided to make this video, because ideas are changing. Ideas are freely to be shared. It was a blockade and a series of experiences that wouldn't allow me to do that, but here I am now. Confident. Again. And of course that the obstacles will be very minimal, because I know how it goes, I know where the maze ends. And it ends in the garden of the Jade Emerald Green Empire, which is the earth. Gold, green. Green gold. And it ain't the money on a piece of paper, because it literally grows on trees. So when you talk about advancements, we talked about economic, the financial aspects. We've talked about everyone knows about the psychoactive part about it. I don't want to get into that. But let's look at advancements. Medical advancements. Because once you open that door, you open for the medical world to be exposed to a lot more natural, holistic advancement, which is again what WHO doesn't want, and a lot of pharmaceutical companies don't want, because they want to hold on to the idea that they're the ones, they create cures for diseases that they've manufactured, carried with them, and fabricated, as seen in its historic. You need only follow the patterns of history. If you have read a history book, you know. So you open the slough for the medical world to take a very big nosedive, at least on the chemical pharmaceutical side. A lot more holistic capabilities will be made available. As soon as the money is there, of course, because you got to spend money to make money. Well, again, weed. Weed, guys, weed, it is the future. Believe it or do not. But it is one thing we cannot get out of. And you can tax it just the same. You tax other products, it ain't political. It's what you vote with your money on. It's really what you decide to vote with. You can cry and say, I don't have enough money, but you're literally spending money to keep things exactly the way they are now. You pay for things not to change. And they've got you invested in the idea that you can pay for change, beg for change, get on your knees, pray to someone for change, but change is what you make of it. Change the way you vote. Don't just vote with a pen or piece of paper, or don't just vote with your money. Vote with your actions. Vote with your actions. Do something or don't do something. Okay, don't protest. Do grow your empire in your backyard. Or do protest, but waste energy and pay for a change that's never going to be made. Pay for a change you're never going to see, because the system is wound to keep you on that circle line for a very long time, and you turn the other cheek all the time, and you remain in the circle no matter which way you go, until finally there is nowhere to go but your own rectum. Nowhere to go but your own ass. So I'm going to cut the video here because I'm about to run out of battery. And like, share, subscribe. And we'll see you guys soon.